Hey guys, welcome back to my mommy channel. In today's video I kind of just wanted to go over some must-haves that you should have for a newborn along with postpartum. Honestly, if I'm being honest, I don't know if I have that many, but these are just some things that I feel like I really needed. This is gonna be my third baby, so I've kind of experienced a few newborns. So yeah, I'm gonna like link everything in the description. They're just like lists on Amazon that I'll link so that you guys can go through, see what you guys like, get ideas, things like that, because I know sometimes it's really hard as being a first-time mom, like, oh my god, what do I need? Like, because you need so many things for a baby. So yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so first things first, I recommend you guys getting a grooming kit. So this comes with, like, I don't know, nail clippers, a little comb, thermometers usually, things like that, just because I feel like you kind of need all those things. A thermometer especially, don't mind me, my butchered words. Yes, a thermometer especially. A nail file. This one that I'm gonna include has like the one where it's like the electric one, so you don't have to like actually clip the nail, because I know that could be so scary because our nails are like this small and it's like, yeah, check it out. So yeah, I do recommend that as something that is a necessity that you should bring to the hospital just in case, but I doubt you'll need it. I didn't personally bring mine, but I know a lot of moms do, so that's personal preference. But yeah, so that's the first thing I recommend. The next thing that I recommend would be some Aquaphor. I know that's kind of like a no-brainer, but Aquaphor, the one that I have listed is like a gift set. It's like a wash and the actual Aquaphor. Hands down best cream that I ever used for rashes, cuts, anything like that. So I recommend Aquaphor for literally everything. I literally use Aquaphor all the time. So yeah, I'm gonna link that below because y'all better go get that. The next thing I recommend is a bathtub that has the little cushion inside of the like tub. So the one that I got, if you watch my last video, it's one that you just put into the regular bathtub. I don't recommend getting that because it makes it so much harder, and it's a little bit more scary, I feel like, for the babies. But I personally got that one, which I shouldn't have. But you know, I recommend it because I had it with my first. The only thing is this, I feel like you have to like wash it pretty often because, you know, like it could get mold and stuff in it. But I do recommend those kind of bathtubs. They make everything so much more easier. The next thing I'm gonna recommend is a Boppy pillow. For one, you can, it like helps you like when you're trying to breastfeed, things like that. But not only that, like I literally would like prop my baby up to take pictures on the Boppy pillow. They could, you know, do tummy time on the Boppy pillow. There's so many things that you can use the Boppy pillow for. They are a little bit on the more pricey side, but I'm sure you can find like a alternative maybe. But the one that I have listed is the actual brand Boppy. But yeah, so I do recommend that for sure. The next thing that I'm going to recommend is the hand mittens, you know, like the little mittens that you can put on the baby's hands, because they will try to scratch themselves. They don't really have control of like their muscles yet, and they don't really, you know, so their hands are flying everywhere and they accidentally scratch themselves. I learned my lesson with that. So yeah, make sure that you get some cute little gloves, some little mittens for them. And yeah, so that's another thing that is a must have. So the next thing I'm going to recommend is that you get these little cotton sleeper gowns that I have on the list. I got the exact same ones that I put on here for my kids, because when they're newborn, like having to take off their onesie and then their pants and then everything like that, it's just a little bit harder in the nighttime. So I feel like they're like little nightgowns where they're open at the bottom to where you can just easily slide it up and change your diaper. So that is a very big must on my list, because in the nighttime you're sleepy, you know, you just want to hurry up and like get them attended to, you know what I mean? So yeah, that is a must. The next thing that I'm gonna recommend is probably Huggies diapers. Definitely do Huggies. I know it's kind of like back and forth. I know hospitals give you Pampers, but I feel like Huggies holds so much more. They're much more durable, but they are a little bit more on the pricey side. But if you can get Huggies, and don't be forgetting to check Marketplace, because people will be posting them on Marketplace too. So I recommend Huggies with diapers. The next must-have that I recommend would be a swing. Please get a swing because as a mom, especially as like having 2 other toddlers, I'm gonna be going crazy. So it makes it so much easier to where sometimes you can just put the baby in the swing, you know, it's rocking, they're sleeping while you tend to doing like, you know, do whatever you need to do. So yeah, I don't really recommend those like bouncer ones. I heard that they're not really good for babies, so I used it with my kids, but I'm not going to be with this one. So yeah, I recommend this swing. The next thing I'm gonna recommend is bottles. I personally always use Dr. Brown's. I don't really like Dr. Brown's though. So this time I'm going to try the Philips glass bottles. I recommend doing glass, guys, because glass is so much more sanitary than plastic. So if you can get glass bottles, but don't use them until they get too old, because then they throw them, they could break, or you know, things like that. So yeah, I recommend glass bottles. The next thing I'm gonna recommend is some high contrast toys. That, if you don't know what that is, that's where they're like black and white, because the first, I don't know how so long in their lifetime, but I know like the first month, I believe, I don't know how much, girl, I don't know what I'm talking about, but let me tell you, they can't really see that well, so they see high contrast. And yeah, so my pediatrician recommended getting those for my babies, so I did. So I do have some listed on here. There's so many different options that you can choose from, but I did put some on here that your baby can do while doing tummy time and things like that. Next thing that I'm going to recommend is swaddles. I know this is kind of controversial because some parents don't do swaddles, some parents do. I personally did swaddles. It personally helped me, so I'm gonna recommend them, only to differentiate day and night, because babies don't know between day and night. So I would swaddle them at night so that they understood that that's nighttime, and then the daytime, you know, go as they please. And it also just, I feel like it helps them feel a little more safer, since they were in your tummy and they were squished in there, and then now they're not, and their arms are flinging everywhere and stuff like that. So I do recommend swaddles if you want to help them differentiate day and nighttime and just feel a little bit more snuggled. The next thing I'm going to recommend is a nasal, some kind of like nasal, either sucker, or the one I have on here is like an electric one. The one that I used was like the Frida one, to where you put it in your mouth and then you suck it, which it grossed me out personally, but something to get the nose, the boogers, even the squeeze one, you know what I mean, because their noses are so tiny, and like their boogers be getting stuck in there and everything else. And yeah, so get a nasal aspirator or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, definitely. The next must-have item that I recommend wholeheartedly is a noisemaker. It doesn't have to be the exact one on here, because this is not the exact one that I got, but I do recommend some sort of noisemaker, because my littles had trouble sleeping. But this one that we had, it has a light to where it shines up on the roof like the stars, and then also the noises, and you could also, like, there was like heartbeats, songs, different things. So I recommend getting one of those, definitely. So the last thing I am going to recommend is some sort of teething toy, because my kids teeth really early on. So get them things that they can chew on, nibble on, things like that, especially ones you can freeze, things like that. That's a very big must for me, because if your kids are like mine, they had a very, very hard time teething, and it was so painful to watch, and they would cry and be fussy and all these other things. So yeah, definitely get some teething toys. Okay, so now I'm going to be recommending must-haves for mommies, postpartum, a little bit before postpartum, whatever you want to call it. So the first thing I'm going to recommend is getting a fan, like a little well, I'll put it right here, but the portable fans, because when I was in the hospital and I was in labor, I was so hot, especially pushing. I ended up getting a fever because I was like overheated. So I did get a fan with my second time around and it helped tremendously. So get a fan. And maybe people don't think about it, but I literally was like, oh my god, I wish I had a fan like my first time around. So yeah, definitely get some sort of portable fan because it will save you. It will do wonders. So the next thing I'm going to recommend is a belly band, a belly binder, whatever you want to call it, to help you snap back, which I never snapped back, but you know, it does help to bind your stomach back together, a little faja, if you will. So I think this time I'm really gonna stay on it, because the first time I slacked on it because I was just uncomfortable, but you know, after a week I'm gonna start binding myself. So the next thing is going to be the Freedom Mom postpartum underwear, because they're like boxer briefs. I recommend getting the boxer briefs. For being a big girl, I struggled with the Depends because I feel like my butt cheeks were like hanging out, because it only like, you know what I mean, even the extra large ones, like, and they were uncomfortable, they were ugly. So if you get the boy shirt ones, I feel like they're more discreet, a little more comfortable. Maybe that's because those are the type of underwear that I wear, but I would recommend doing something like that than getting those big old thick old Depends from like Walmart or something. So I recommend that because you're going to be bleeding. Sometimes pads aren't enough, so I recommend that. Next thing I'm going to recommend is a breast pump. I recommend doing the wireless one, so you can just insert them in your bra. It's easier than doing all the wires and plugging it in and everything like that. Oh, focus. So yeah, I recommend, I put the Mom Cozy one on here. I never did Mom Cozy, but you know, do as you please. But a breast pump is a must-have, because you can breastfeed, don't get me wrong. Strictly breastfeeding is intense, and so I do recommend doing a breast pump, but to each his own. Next thing I recommend is getting ice packs for your nipples. I have them listed on here because your nipples are gonna hurt, they're gonna be sore, they're gonna be chapped, they're gonna, you know what I mean? So just to make it a little bit more comfortable for you, you could either heat them or you can freeze them. The next thing that I'm gonna recommend is getting nightgowns. Get a nightgown for yourself, or some pajamas that have the button up or some sort of easy access, because I did it my first and it was very hard. I was constantly pulling on my shirt and, you know, things like that, and like, it's just a little bit easier if you're just able to unbutton yourself a little bit and, you know, be able to feed baby. So the next thing that I'm going to recommend is doing not disposable, the reusable, the washable breast pads, because you're gonna be leaking milk. You can buy the disposable. For me, they didn't hold as much as the like cotton ones, and yeah, and you're able to just rewash them. Like, you don't have to keep buying new ones over and over and over. And if you guys have WIC, if you didn't know, you can go to WIC and they will give you a box of them. They also will give you like a hand manual pump, and a few other things if you didn't know. But definitely get the breast pads from them, because they give you, I believe, 4, like, you know, 2 and 2. But I've went in there a few different times and asked for them, and I've gotten like 3 different boxes. So I utilize that, girl. Let me get my vocabulary together. And the last thing that I'm going to recommend, obviously probably a no-brainer, but it's going to be a nursing bra. Get a really good nursing bra. My first time around, I got a nursing bra that was the one, because I had the breast pump that was connected to the cords, and then they sit in your bra and you have to plug it in, and it was just like, it was just a disaster. So I recommend doing the wireless ones, getting a good bra, and yeah, because it's gonna save you a lot of time. My first, I didn't get a nursing bra, and it was so hard trying to like take my boob out of my bra. Focus. Hello. And yeah, so I do recommend getting a good nursing bra. I heard Mom Cozy's pretty good, so I'm gonna try that one this time around. Ended up just getting kind of like a generic one the last time, but you know, any bra helps, so I do recommend that. And that was my last recommendation, a must-have. So yeah, so thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you found this video helpful, and yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and stay tuned for more videos. I'm trying to be more consistent, guys. Anyways, sorry guys. Anyway, so thank you guys so much for watching, and stay tuned for the next video, and thank you guys so much for supporting me, and yeah, see you guys soon. Bye.